Hi, welcome. This time I'm going to share how I create my tattoo designs. I've been a tattoo artist for a year now, and I just wanted to share how I do things as a newbie and also the growth as an artist. So I wanted to start with a simple thing like how I create designs. This video is basically like a rough look into how I do things. So I'll divide this video in like two sections. How I make tattoo designs on my own time and how I make them for a client. And I also wanted to add that every artist creates designs in their own way, and there is no right way. I'm just sharing my way. So, let's get to it. I usually start with getting inspired because I'm not an inspo machine, obviously. I don't have inspiration 24/7. I can talk about getting inspired more in detail in another video, but here I'll keep it short. So, how I get my inspiration a lot of times depends on how I feel. Sometimes it's enough looking at my favorite artists or have a mini Pinterest scroll. But if I don't have the best time of my life, I do some writing slash journaling, cleaning my workspace, doing anything else that is not art. That's shortly on my inspiration. So, next, when I'm inspired to do a new design, I usually go on Pinterest, exactly where I do my Pinterest scrolls. So, most of the time, I don't have an instant idea of the things that I want to create, so I search for my favorite things and just look around there. Because if I try to think of the exact thing I want to make into a design, I get overwhelmed pretty damn easily. A lot of times while I scroll through the feed of my favorite things, there can pop up some photos that have pretty much nothing to do with what I searched for. Or, for example, I search for clouds and there can pop up a photo with clouds, but it's Spirited Away themed. So the theme can bring me the idea to create, let's say, a Spirited Away tattoo design. But in this specific video, it was with the crane, the bird. So I was just searching for birds and I just saw the crane bird and I was like, let's make that one. Because I just like the bird, the photos of them. So I found the idea, which in this case is the bird, which is also the main object. I usually don't add more than 3 objects in a tattoo design because I don't want it to look all chaotic. In this case, I just wanted a bird and a simple shape behind it because I also didn't want to just have plain bird. I mean, I would do that on some other time, but this time I didn't want it. Also, I want to add that I don't always have a place for a tattoo in mind. For a change, I wanted to create a design for a specific place on the skin. So, let's get back. So next for me is sketching. I have usually 2 layers of sketch, the rough one and the other one is defined sketch. Defined one is mostly just making a rough look of the line art, just so the guidelines would be clear for me to draw on. Usually the whole sketching process involves a lot of fixing here and there and changing stuff, just casual art things. The sketching part always takes time for me personally. So once I'm done with sketching, I'm doing the line art. I'd say there is nothing special to it, just not adding way too many lines, since obviously it doesn't stay perfect on the skin forever. The lines change up once the tattoo ages. After doing all of the line part, I start to add details. I don't add many details when I draw a design digitally because I'm size blind, I guess, if that's what you call it. I can accidentally add way too many details, which just on a tattoo, once tattooed with time, would look horrible. Also, when I do add details, a lot of times actually it's not planned. Sometimes I plan the blackout parts where there is just pure black, pretty much the shadow part. That's kind of the only thing that I roughly know where I would put it. But other than that, all other details, those are just improvising for me. I just start with filling out the black spaces first, and then after that, all the other things. Obviously, I don't do this stuff religiously with every design, but this is kind of what I mostly do. Sometimes I don't fill out the black parts first, sometimes I just want to add details already, and then just experimenting, I guess. Honestly, it's a bit easier for me inspo wise because I'm given the idea by my client. I really like when clients send me like a lot of references that actually specify what they want. It just helps to understand what they really want from me. I don't really need to get inspired to go through all of that, setting my energy to create something. A person just comes to me and pretty much they give me an idea and I just create stuff for them. In that case, I'd say it's much easier than doing something from scratch. When I get the references, and sometimes I search up more references actually. Depends on the tattoo. For example, a person wants a skull with a spider, so then I search for different angles for both skull and spider. Then I make the sketches with these different ideas, basically thumbnailing. A lot of these things are similar to what I do on my free time, but when it's a client, I just need approvals to move to the next step. And also before that, there is a consultation and taking photos of the place they want tattooed. It's more of they kind of give me an idea and then I create something for them. And also there are just a few approvals between creating a design. Once they choose and approve of a sketch, I create the clean work by pretty much part 1 steps, except the inspiration part. The last part of all of this is just finishing the design, but sometimes it doesn't end there. Just because I finished does not mean it's approved. I need the design approved so I can make the stencil. If the client wants some details changed or doesn't like something in the design, I just fix those things. So just they would like it. Once they approve, then it's the stencil and all the other stuff. I mean, sometimes just because the easiest part for me personally is that I don't have to think of an idea myself, but there are also like hard parts, such as if the idea isn't really coming to you, on what kind of design you really want to create for them. Sometimes it's just not your favorite thing to create, so that can be a bit harder to deal with. I mean, sometimes you don't even have the motivation, so you have to work around it somehow. Just info dump yourself with a lot of references that you found according to client's idea, just so you can put something together. If I have to choose which one I like to do better, then I think it's going to be client work, because it can be a challenge and also it's like a surprise. What will I create next? Who will come to me next with what idea? But when I create on my own, I can just abandon an idea pretty much. Oh, I didn't like it, so I'm just gonna abandon it and never really go through with them. But then when it comes to creating for other people, I have to use my brain and finish the work, and also I learned something about it. Actually, like the fact that having a client pushes me to actually work through a project. Sometimes I may not Sometimes it may not be my favorite project, but still I learned something. I don't abandon a project. I think I have a billion abandoned projects, and I don't remember where all of them are. Some of them are on my PC. Okay, this is rambling. Anyway, I guess this is my conclusion. I like working with people more, even though I'm an introvert and I like to be alone. Anyway, thank you for watching. And if you got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll look through them. If you comment, obviously, please do. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.